Hey performers, welcome back. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl today. Specifically, we're going to talk about some of the best and worst halftime performances. Let's go. Welcome back to Danny Robertson Music, where we try to help you become the best possible performer that you can be on whatever stage you choose. I'm Danny Robertson. Thanks for joining us again this week. If you haven't seen us before, do me that favor, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like or comment on any of our videos, and join our email list at DannyRobertsonMusic.com. So we had a Super Bowl party at our house this year. We had several friends and their families come over. We had a good time watching the game, watching the halftime performance. We actually called it a Superbowl party, where everybody brought their own crock pot worth of chili or soup that everybody got to taste test. It was a lot of fun. The Super Bowl is a great time for gatherings, friends and family, fellowship, lots of food, and lots of fun. For the performer of the Super Bowl halftime show, it is the opportunity of a lifetime. The performer that's lucky enough to be invited to do that performance is usually at the top of their game, and they usually put on pretty good performances. The Super Bowl show is an indicator of how good those performances really are. If your performances have a few cracks or holes in it, it's going to show in your Super Bowl show. Think of the Super Bowl halftime shows that we remember, like Michael Jackson or Prince or U2, Bruno Mars, Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, Justin Timberlake, and Janet Jackson. You remember that one, right? Great Super Bowl performances are often remembered. So are really, really bad ones. But everybody that puts on an okay show, those are the ones that usually get forgotten because they weren't that special to remember, and they weren't that terrible to remember either. So Rihanna was the halftime show performer for this year, and let's take a look at her performance. My first takeaway was I thought her pregnancy announcement was really, really cool. It was a little too modest, in my opinion. She didn't make as big of a deal of it as she could have, and it almost went under the radar for a lot of people because not everybody knew to be paying attention at that exact moment. The second cool thing that happened in Rihanna's performance was the floating platforms. Now, I thought that was really neat. I thought that that was something that was unique. It made her show stand out, and they executed that fairly well. Not to mention that Rihanna is brave as hell for doing a performance like that. The thing that I found with the floating platforms is that they overused it. I think that that performance would have been better served if they had held off using the floating platforms until the back half of the performance to level up the show. The music was good. The performance was good, but there was not a lot of leveling up and leveling down. The performance kind of started right here at a pretty medium-high level, and it just kind of stayed there for the entire show. And when you do a Super Bowl performance, or really any performance, the best way to kind of create memorability and engagement is to have points in your show where it levels down a little bit and then levels up a little bit, and you feel the ebb and flow. So it really just kind of felt steady to me the entire time, and it really never got bigger or smaller than what it started as. For me, that was where the performance could have been better. So in general, I feel like the Super Bowl teaches us a few things about what works well in a performance, what doesn't work well in a performance, and basically gives us a roadmap for how to better our own shows. First, you gotta start strong. You have to have either a big entrance or a very strong first number or something that is visually extremely entertaining to watch, to grab the attention of your viewers, of your fans, of your audience. Now think of ones like the Rihanna one that we just saw. I mean, she basically came out there and was up in the air within 10 seconds of the show starting. I also think of ones like Michael Jackson, where he basically stood quiet, not moving, for about 90 seconds while the crowd just screamed at him. Bruno Mars gave a drum solo before even playing his first song. Starting strong sets the bar for what the rest of your performance is going to be. The second one is not in necessarily every show, but it is pretty common in a lot of the Super Bowl performances. There is often an underlying message or theme that is given to the entire performance that kind of sits underneath every single song, every single part of the performance, and they're trying to convey a message. Like you can think of the U2 performance in 2002 that happened 6 months after 9/11. The entire theme of that performance was dedicated as a tribute to the victims of 9/11. And I think that helped that show become really memorable for people. You don't have to do this one, but it does help to kind of think through if there's a message or a theme that you're trying to give out to your audience whenever you perform. The third one I've actually talked about in a lot of my videos, and you see this in good Super Bowl performances. There is an ebb and a flow to a good performance. Not everything is supposed to be super exciting all the time when you perform. You want to have those points where you can level up and increase the excitement level in your performance, but you also want to have those points where you can level down and create more intimate moments with your audience. Now think of it like this. If you were to go and watch a movie, whether it's an action movie, a romantic comedy, if it was all the same type of scene throughout the entire movie, you'd get bored pretty quickly. It's the same thing with a live performance. The best performers have this way of treating their performance like it is chapters in a book or chapters in a storyline. You're giving your audience a story to follow. Learn to level up and level down your performances and try to tell a story through the way that you perform. Learning how to create an ebb and flow in your show and basically creating a storyline for your own performance will help you to create moments of excitement and intimate moments to better connect with your audience. The fourth thing that you see at a lot of Super Bowl performances is the main performer often brings friends to perform with them. It's a great way to take what you're good at and then add in an extra flair that somebody else is good at. I think of people like Coldplay, who brought in Beyonce and Bruno Mars, Katyperry, who brought in Missy Elliott, who brings a different flavor to her show. Dre, Mary.J.Blige, Eminem, that was a really fun one to watch too. Bringing friends allows you as a performer to bring different flavors of performance. It adds an extra bit of fun to your show. The last thing that I see from a lot of Super Bowl performances that I think we all should try to bring into our own shows, find a way to appeal to your audience's emotions. Create an emotional connection. That creates more of a memorable experience between you and your fans. I really enjoyed the Dre, Eminem, Mary.J.Blige performance because I grew up around a lot of that music when I was in my formative years. Speaking of that same show, when Eminem took a knee in his performance, he did two things. He empowered a lot of people and he ticked off a lot of people at the same time. That's an emotional connection. Whether you like it or not, he did something that made that performance memorable. You can do something like what Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson did in the early 2000s with, what did they call that? Wardrobe malfunction. Finding a way to make that connection that will make your audience laugh with you, cry with you, be mad at you, be surprised by something that you do. Those kinds of things are what makes a performance memorable. Think of Prince singing Purple Rain in the rain. I mean, how cool was that? You can play the best music in the world, you can sing the best songs, but if you have no way of connecting to somebody's emotions, you're not doing your job right. You're going to have to learn what's important to your audience and what's going to make your performance connect with them. I encourage you to take a look at a lot of the old halftime performances done at the Super Bowl because you're going to see a lot of what was done well, what could have been done better, and how those performers were able to connect emotionally to their audience in a 15-minute performance. You can learn a lot from that, and you can do the same in your own shows. That's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed this one. In the meantime, have a great rest of your week. Best of luck to you on your next great performance, and I'll see you soon. You take care.